Chapter 28. Mateo paced back and forth across Vittoria's bedroom, his thoughts fragmented. How long had passed since he'd left Hodei's deathbed? A few hours, maybe? 10 minutes? Time felt like a blur. He'd told no one that Hodei had died, but they'd find out soon. Someone would check on the ailing high priest, an apothecary, most likely, or maybe Balta. The news would ripple through the castle and the landowner coven, but not likely beyond. No, the landowners wouldn't want anyone to know until the final battle of the Law of Rights was over, which meant he'd hear from Romeo or Balta in the morning, most likely. Mateo shoved a hand through his hair. At least Vittoria was safe at the quarry. He could go warn her of Hodei's death, but then she'd insist on coming back to support him in the battle. But he didn't know yet when it would happen, so why break her peace? He'd find her when he knew more. If the question of succession had been decided when Hodei was alive, there might have been less uncertainty. As it stood, whoever gained the throne would have to implement their plan at once, which meant rebels and landowners alike would be scrambling to prepare the moment news of Hodei's death broke. No, Vittoria should stay at the quarry for now, with Nico. Joska was assigned to check on her, and he'd just left. Then, if the worst happened here, Benat and Joska could take Vittoria and her family away immediately. Joska was as good as Benat, if not a bit younger.
"Mateo,"
Benat barked.
"is Vittoria?"
Mateo's head popped up. He stopped pacing, arrested by the panic in Benat's tone. Joska followed Benat into the room, pale.
"What? She is gone. Gone where?"
Benat's nostrils flared as he motioned to Joska, who stepped forward and spoke.
"We're not sure, Majesty. 2 men are looking for her now. Nerea said she left a few hours ago, around sunset. They thought one of us transported her back here." "No one did?"
"No." Benat confirmed it with a shake of his head.
"I have spoken with all my men. They've been assigned to other places tonight. The ones patrolling the quarry said they saw no sign of her and thought she was still inside. There are tracks through some bushes and on a path that leads to the road that match her foot size. No other prints to suggest someone else took her."
Joska gave Mateo a helpless shrug.
"If she went that way, she would have been hidden from the guards. The tracks initially head toward Nechi, but they disappear into the underbrush almost as soon as they enter the road. We've combed the road, still are combing the road, just in case, but so far have found nothing."
Mateo scowled.
"Why would she walk away from her family on the road back to Nechi without telling us? It doesn't make—"
His mind flitted back to the morning after the test of courage, when Vittoria's cheeks were bright red with cat-like scratch marks and her expression stoic. He'd wondered then if something had been wrong.
"Hodei,"
he whispered. Was it possible? Had Hodei sent her to do something while he was on his deathbed? Benat stared at him, then seemed to remember that day himself. He nodded warily.
"Hodei. She didn't want us to know,"
Mateo murmured.
"That's why she said she wanted to stay overnight. Now she's walking back into Nechi alone because she's doing something for Hodei tonight." "A trap,"
Benat snarled.
"It must be. La Principessa would not betray us."
"Hodei?" Joska asked softly.
"But—" "Joska, go to Vittoria's family and double their guard. I want you with them. I want someone with Inigo. No, Vittoria hasn't betrayed us," he added, more to himself than them. "I believe she's acting to protect her family. Hodei has threatened her somehow." "What would he want from her?"
Mateo suppressed the urge to put a fist through the wall. He should have gotten to the bottom of it, should have talked to her, or built up her trust, or figured this out sooner. Instead of throwing something, he began to pace again. He set aside all thoughts of Hodei, the Law of Rights, and Romeo. Vittoria was the priority.
"What could Hodei want from her?"
Mateo murmured.
"It doesn't make sense." "It may not be Hodei,"
Benat said. His countenance darkened as he opened his mouth, then closed it again.
"What?"
Mateo snapped.
"She—"
Benat closed his eyes.
"Is it possible she's a rebel?"
Mateo stopped pacing to glare at him.
"If you are suggesting—"
Benat held up 2 hands.
"We have to explore all possibilities, Mateo. She's not my mare."
Joska averted his gaze. Benat said nothing. Mateo raked a hand through his hair.
"What would Hodei ask her to do that she would try to hide from me?"
These threads had to meet somewhere, and they had to meet back with Hodei. Or, he thought with a visible shudder, Romeo.
"Why would Hodei want Vittoria? He's dying, dead."
"Because she threatens his legacy?" Joska asked. Mateo shook his head.
No, I threaten his legacy. If Hodei wanted something from Vittoria, it would be to punish me. A trap set by Romeo.
Mateo chewed on his bottom lip.
I don't know. I don't know what he's asked of her, but it must be something she doesn't want me to know about. Because you'd stop her.
Mateo met Benat's hard gaze.
Exactly. And there's one big thing in Nechi that I wouldn't allow her to get involved in.
Benat swallowed.
The rebels.
Mateo stopped. His stomach clenched as he whispered,
The rebels. She's gone to the rebels?
Joska asked.
We must assume so, Mateo said. But it doesn't mean anything yet. There are a dozen reasons she may have been led there.
Benat looked away again. Mateo tilted his head to one side. His neck cracked.
All right, that's where we'll start. We'll assume she's gone to the rebels for some reason. We need to infiltrate the catacombs. Benat, we'll each lead a team. Sanja can lead the third. Pull some of the men from the quarry. Grab the ones who have been there the longest. We'll...
No, Majesty, Joska said quietly. Mateo's head snapped up and he snarled.
Did you just refuse me?
Joska held up 2 hands and stood his ground before Benat could advance on him.
I know it's insubordination to refuse a command, and by the law of the Guardians you could have me killed, but on this point, let me speak. Please.
Mateo hesitated. The last thing he needed right now was mutiny, but even he could admit that he wasn't at his most logical. Thoughts of Vittoria in the hands of the rebels. He shook that off and gave Joska a hard nod.
You just said that Hodei has died, which means the law of rights will be fought to the end any moment now. You have to be available if Balta declares the start of the match. The message will find me in the catacombs, he snapped. I'll transport.
Benat's brow rose.
Are you sure? Majesty, Joska hurried to say. The catacombs are known for having dead spots where magic doesn't work. I've been there. I felt them. The magic there is powerful, ancient, unstable. Sometimes it changes the way other magic systems work. A message sent to you may not arrive.
Mateo frowned. He'd never actually been in the catacombs, but he wasn't about to surrender Vittoria, to leave her to be a puppet for the wild rebels.
Then I'll return every 15 minutes and see if a message has come, he said.
Benat put a hand on his shoulder. The firm weight grounded Mateo, even though he wanted to shake it off.
Majesty,
Benat murmured. His nostrils flared as he sent Joska a warning look.
He's right. The catacombs are too unknown. You cannot be the witch who goes in there.
Mateo turned, gaze tapered in a challenging stare.
You'll stop me. With my life, if I must. The catacombs are bigger than Nechi, Majesty, Joska added. The old ones who built them are more powerful than any of us. Their magic, though weak, is still active down there. It's the only reason the catacombs haven't been flooded by the sea. You'll get lost. Some of the canals are still functioning traps set by the old ones, and we don't know for sure that she's in there. It is, perhaps, a trap for you. You think Hodei set this up as a trap for me to walk into, so Romeo wins the law of rights?
Joska shrugged, but Mateo read through the silence.
You think Vittoria has deceived me? We didn't say that, Benat said. But you can't deny it.
Joska kept his gaze on the ground, but Benat didn't even flinch.
I will remain open to all possibilities until the truth is known, Joska murmured, because that is how I keep you safe and serve you best.
Mateo growled, barely reining in his rage. Would Esperanza never cease to haunt him? Could her legacy never die? He was on the edge already, and the fight with Romeo hadn't even been declared yet. Why did he feel so wild, so infuriated? Was there a kernel of doubt within him? Even a hint of question about his betrothed? Vittoria certainly could betray him. Esperanza had done so to Hodei, hadn't she? Unable to even consider it, he whipped back to Joska.
Then what do you propose I do? You must have some sort of brilliant idea if you're willing to believe so ill of your future High Priestess.
Joska hesitated, eyes darting from Mateo to Benat.
I propose that you allow us to find her in the catacombs.
When the rage flared within Mateo like a fire, Benat stepped between the two of them.
You can't do anything about it now, Majesty, except go to that fight when the call comes for you. My men will save her if she's down there. If not, we'll find her.
1,000 scenarios ran through Mateo's mind. Romeo could have her. The rebels, Hodei's guardians, a group of desperate landowners hoping to sabotage him. Who knew? The endless possibilities made him sick.
I can't accept that, Benat.
Benat put a hand on Mateo's shoulder.
You must, he said quietly. Joska's right. This could all be a trap, an elaborate way for Romeo to pull you away and win by default. Vittoria would agree that you must save the network first, and then her.
Benat didn't choke on the words, at least, which left Mateo wondering where he really stood. Mateo glanced between them.
I don't like this, but obviously I have no choice. And yes, he added, I trust both of you to do the impossible without me. Benat, bring her back to me at any cost.